Hey guys, what's up? GreenMachineSam back with another video, and today we have another Madden 24 roster update guide. Now, for this one, it's going to be more informational regarding the draft and the things that are going to be happening during the draft and overall through the weekend and going forward after the draft is concluded, because it does take a lot of time to make a lot of the players. Now, first and foremost, we are going to go over just how to download the roster real quick, just so you guys know, so that when I do start uploading the rookies, you guys can go ahead and go download them. So first and foremost, you guys are going to head over to the NFL tab, the little creation center, the NFL icon here on PS5. This is a PS5 exclusive roster. Sorry to anybody that is on Xbox or PC. PS5 is just the console of my choice, and then as well as I don't have an Xbox and I play all my Xbox games on my PC. So, second and foremost, you are going to head to share and manage files, go to download community files, and then with how much you guys have downloaded the roster, I am on the front page now. So you guys don't technically have to go look up my username ID, but it's right here. We are the top roster on Madden, and then we are the top realistic roster as well. So we have the Madden 25 roster update. It should be by GreenMachineSam. It should be uploaded almost daily. There have been a couple days I have missed so far over the last week or so. The main reason is just because some days there's just nothing going on. There legitimately is nothing going on. No jersey numbers have been announced. No player movement. Nothing. Just there's been nothing. So there's like almost no reason for me to update the roster in that capacity. I think it's a really good roster. I still use it to this day. I've started another rebuild that I wanted to do. Granted, I'm not going to record it. Sorry for anybody that maybe is missing out on that. If you guys for some reason don't want the Madden 25 one, there's a Madden 24. It's legitimately the same roster. It's just a second file, so if something were to happen to the original one, you guys can go out and find the other one as well. You guys can also search by online ID, GreenMachineSam. You guys can see the username right here. It's highlighted on your screen, GreenMachineSam. You can also see it in the top right of your screen. And then, just to go over the description real quick so that some people aren't confused, it just says Madden 25 roster update. Number one off-season roster for Madden 23. That was the number one roster off-season roster for Madden 22, if I remember correctly, at one point. So there is that, because I think Bengal was already on Xbox last year. I know I was the number 2 most downloaded community file, I think, in Madden 22, if I remember correctly. Maybe, and then Madden 21, I don't think I was that quite that high. But then check out YT for more info. If you're watching this video, you're already here, of course. Free agency has begun. Stefon Diggs to Houston, J.K. Dobbins to Los Angeles Chargers, and then Levi Wallace and Zach Wilson to Denver. Those are two very recent moves. Now, I don't go and tell you every single move that happens, because some players just aren't worthy. Not worthy. Just, they're not as high profile names. A lot of people who maybe play Madden more on a casual basis, watch the NFL on a more casual basis, aren't going to know a lot of the players. So I try to do big names on the description so that people realize who's being moved where. J.K. Dobbins, I feel like, is a prominent enough running back to know. Of course, Stefon Diggs and Zach Wilson are two big names in the NFL. Even if they're not, even if Zach Wilson isn't a particularly great quarterback, he's still well known. Now, of course, some jersey numbers, of course, like I've said before, I just give out randomly. I just give out a jersey number that maybe looks decent. So there's Zach Wilson on the Broncos, of course. Levi Wallace as well at corner. He's going to be wearing 26 for now until his jersey number is updated. And like I said, there's a lot of jersey numbers to be picked out and stuff. And of course, with how big rosters are, you can carry, I think it's 90 into the preseason or something, some insane shit like that into the first preseason week. Some players will be sharing numbers, and there's actually a couple players in the NFL currently sharing numbers already on rosters. Jake Browning's back on the Bengals for 2 years. Yes, he was technically already on the Bengals in my roster. It's because I figured he was going to re-sign with the Bengals. I figured nobody was going to go out and want to sign a 28-year-old veteran quarterback that had a couple good games with the Bengals. I figured he'd be back with the Bengals on a backup deal. Logan Woodside also re-signed there. He was there at one point. I don't remember if he was drafted there or if he was just there at one point. I don't remember exactly what was going on. Some teams that have had a lot of jersey number changes are definitely the Lions. They've had Hendon Hooker, who's changed. They've had Jamar Jefferson change his number. They've had multiple people change their numbers as well. Zane Zylstra has changed his number. Of course, DJ Reader, their big offseason deep tackle, has changed his number, and so on and so forth. And then a couple restricted free agents like James Houston is back, and a bunch of other moves. The Raiders went out and got, of course, a guy like Cody Whitehair, former Chicago Bear. I hope him nothing but the best. I hope he does go into Las Vegas and have a good season. The Rams, I still don't know what to do with Avila and Jonah Jackson, because I haven't seen anything that said that any three of these guys have played center. So I'm just going to move Steve Avila there for now. If you guys want to move somebody else there, that's totally up to you. I don't know if Kevin Dotson ever played center for the Steelers. On Pro Football Reference, it never said anything about any of them playing, center. Like I said, I have a ton of off-season moves. I'm not going to go over every single one because that would just take too fucking long to go over. If you guys want to go check out the roster, go ahead. Go make your own assumptions once you go out and check the full roster. A couple things that I can't change before I get into the draft guide and stuff going like that forward. One, I cannot change age, contract numbers, and I cannot change dev traits. I can't change experience, and I cannot trade draft picks. Sorry, those are just things I cannot do. So yes, and I can't make the 2024 NFL roster schedule. This isn't a perfect world. EA doesn't allow us to do a lot of stuff that I wish we could do. I wish we could start in the off season and then load in the rosters and all this and load in custom rosters into certain sections. I wish you could make custom schedules in Madden. All different things, right? All different things that I think we as a community have been asking for over the last couple years that they just don't implement. Because they want us to buy next year's game because they're lazy, money-hungry, greedy pieces of shit. Yeah, fuck you, EA. You guys do a shit job on your game. Fuck you. That's first and foremost. Secondly, like I said, I can't change a lot of stuff in Madden. It doesn't allow me to do a lot of stuff. Age, experience, contract numbers, dev traits. I can't trade draft picks. I can't make custom schedules. You can't start in the offseason. All that fun stuff. So with the rookies officially going to be added during the draft, there will be a good reason for you guys to download the roster again and start playing. Of course, these are my ratings. If you guys don't like them, tough shit. This is how I do my Madden roster every single year. People seem to enjoy it. So I'm not going to change it because one person doesn't like how I'm doing my ratings. Now, of course, ratings are changing this year. Something that I've done in the past, I just don't think it's going to work out anymore, especially with how many QBs are expected to fly off the board early and how many QBs flew off the board early in 21 and so on and so forth. I just think there's a better way to go about the ratings this year, and I've kind of come up with something that I'm hoping works well. If it doesn't, then I can always go back to the original system and stuff, but hopefully this works out for us. Like I said, there's stuff in Madden that I can't change, but still, nonetheless, let's get things underway. First and foremost, so I don't have any rookies on the roster yet. The reason why is because I do go ahead and make everybody as it's happening, as the draft is happening. Now, of course, when the later rounds come, second and third round especially, I won't be able to keep up as much the first round. I'm able to get done normally within half an hour after the draft ends because I'm getting the players as they go off the board. Last year, like I said, I think it was maybe 30, 32 minutes, 35 minutes, somewhere around there that the roster was live. Now, of course, I do try to upload it after every 10 picks, and then once pick 32 comes in, then I will upload the last 12. So there is that. So you guys will have that roster very early. So if you any of you other content creators that want to grab the roster and start making content immediately, go ahead. Just don't take credit for the roster, and don't also be like, hey, this is the best. This is the roster. Don't just be like, I just download the top roster. I would appreciate the shout out if you guys could do that for me. We're all content creators here. I would appreciate the support and so on and so forth, right? I'm not saying you have to. I would just appreciate it. Now, of course, like I said, ratings are based upon when a player is picked for me. I found that's the easiest and the most fair way to do things. Now, of course, also, ratings are going to stay the same for any real players in the NFL. I don't touch ratings. I know I don't want to do stuff and then people be like, why is this dude this overall? And why is this dude that overall? I just have EA handle that. I just finished out the year with their overalls. I get that that's normally not the best situation because some players do regress in the offseason and everything, and some players do progress, but it's just the most fair way to do it. And then, like I said, the reason why I do player-based overall based on where you are picked is because I think it's the most fair. Not that I'm saying every NFL GM is competent, not that every NFL front office is competent, because based off of my overall by draft pick, Jalen Reagor would have been the same overall as Justin Jefferson when they came out of college and gotten picked on back-to-back picks, and we all know how that turned out. I'm not saying that is the most realistic. I'm not saying it's the best. It's just the most way to be unbiased as possible, right? I don't want to be biased against a player because I don't like them because of something they did in their past. I don't want to be biased against certain teams like Detroit, Green Bay, Minnesota, Cowboys. Those teams that maybe I dislike because of my fandom. I don't want to, immediately shit on that player, right? I never wish for a player's downfall. That's one thing I always want to address is I don't wish for a player's downfall. That's something I just don't do. With that being said, here's how we're going to do this year's overalls. So, the first 15 quarterbacks, kickers and punters. I know there's not normally 15 kickers and punters taken. There's normally about 5 to 8 taken in a draft, maybe somewhere around there. They're all going to start off at 75 overall, right? So QB1 is going to start off at 75 overall. We all know it's probably going to be Caleb Williams at this point. Hopefully the Bears don't fuck that up. So it's going to be Caleb Williams, and then let's say Drake May goes 2, he'll be 74. Jaden McDaniels goes 3, he goes 73. And then at 4, if a team trades up, that QB is still going to be a 72. But if they don't trade up and they trade up to number 6, where the Giants are, he's still going to be a 72. But then that changes how the rest of the draft numbers come out, right? So if somebody trades up to number 4 and takes their QB because they like J.J. McCarthy, like they like Bo Nix, whoever the fuck they decide to take at number 4. Let's say J.J. McCarthy goes at 3 and Jaden McDaniels goes at 4. Drake May goes at 3 and Jaden McDaniels goes at 2. It does not matter, okay? So 1 is 75, 2 is 74, 73, 72, 71, so 70, and 69, and so on and so forth. Now, the one caveat I do have to that is if every round that passes by, an overall point also drops. So if let's say the 6th QB, which would technically originally be 75, 74, 73, 72, 71, 70, let's say the 6th quarterback off the board is in the beginning of the 2nd round, let's say fucking Bo Nix, right? Goes 6 in the 30s or something. He'll drop 1 overall point as well with the 2nd round. So, instead of him being a 69, he'll be a 68. Right around where Will Levis was last year, so I think that's kind of realistic, all things considered. So there is that. So like I said, 75, 74, 72, 75, 74, 73, 72, 71, 70, 69, so on and so forth. So if there's 5 QBs that go in the first round, it'll be 75, 74, 73, 72, 71. Well, yeah, those would be the first 5, right? 75, 74, 73, 72, 71. Yeah. Then the lowest overall QB in the first round would be a 71 overall. I think that's relatively nice because how I did in the past was just pick 1 was 81 overall, pick 2 was 80, pick 3 and 4 are 79s, so on and so forth. So then that comes in, it would create an unbalance, right? Bryce Young last year was an 81 overall in my roster. He would immediately come in and have great success. So would CJ Stroud. I'm not saying CJ Stroud in real life had great success as well, but I don't want that to happen again. And with QBs continuously going off the board and so on and so forth. And, in future years, where there's a draft kind of like the Kenny Pickett class, where Kenny Pickett was the first quarterback at 22. Stuff may change for that, of course. But for now, with the prediction being anywhere from 4 to 6 QBs going in the first round of this year's draft, I kind of wanted to change things up, and I think this is the best way to keep things balanced and have quarterback overalls not be above and beyond. Because 80 overall quarterbacks in Madden, if you guys go ahead and look, is like kind of good territory, right? You get down to like 80s, it's Jordan Love having a really good year, CJ Stroud, Baker Mayfield coming back, Geno Smith, Kyler Murray, Justin Fields is a 76, Jared Goff's an 82. I don't want that to be where the rookies start off. I would like them to be more down in this area where Anthony Richardson currently sits, Sam Howell, Kenny Pickett, Bryce Young. I'd like for those guys to sit kind of in that area, of course. But then that brings up the factor of what happens when the first non-quarterback, I would hope a kicker and a punter don't go in the first round, but what happens when the first non-QB kicker punter goes in the first round? So let's say Marvin Harrison goes at 4. He would be an 81. And then we'll start the actual overalls from there. 5 would be an 80 overall. Then if you go 6, whether it's the Giants, the Vikings, the Raiders, whoever at 6 takes, J.J. McCarthy, it would skip over him. So then 7 would be a 79. 78 would be a 79. 9 would be a 78, and so on and so forth down the board. And of course, I don't have the exact numbers printed out yet of which draft picks are going to be which overalls. I'm going to be completely honest, I haven't done that yet. I need to go through and, and it's going to take some time because, of course, if a quarterback goes at this pick or this pick or this pick, it's going to throw a wrench into things. It's going to get pushed back 1 or 2. So with that being said, that's how overalls are going to work, right? So then let's say a QB goes at, 11. It would be the 5th quarterback off the board, or the teens. Let's say somebody goes off the board at like 15 or 16. Then they would be, of course, that 71 overall, but then it would push all the other overalls back a spot, and those players would then get different overalls. Like I said, I create the rookies as they're happening, so I don't run into super big issues. So I'll be able to go through and create overalls as they're going on as well, and that should help out in the best way possible. And like I said, I do try to upload the roster every 10 picks or so. Second and third round, it should. So that's day 2, second and third round. Most years, for the last 3 years that I've fully committed to doing these rosters, the second and third round normally get done the night of the draft, but it does normally take me till about 2 or 3 a.m. to get the third round done. Because remember, it's double the time of the draft, basically. It's, close to 64 picks or so. I don't think there might be some teams that might have gotten a third round compensatory pick. If they did, then it adds even, that extra player. Now, of course, one caveat to this is if for some reason Madden weren't to allow me to make all those rookies, for some reason if it was like, hey, you can only make 67 players this year for some fucking reason and create a player, then I can only make up to 67 players. I'm not going to work over old players. It's just something I don't like doing. Working over, the guys that are 21 that aren't in the league, like Holton Ahlers from East Carolina, there's like every young person is on a roster. Rashad Torrance from Florida. Some people have suggested going over them and, creating rookies over top of them. I don't like doing that because a lot of these guys do have futures in the NFL. A lot of these guys are going to be in the league and stuff and are on teams and so on and so forth. So I don't love doing that. Last year I was able to get to 207, 208, 216, something like that. I don't remember exactly where I ended off with. And then I created a couple players. I did edit over a couple players. There was a couple players I wanted to get done, Deuce Vaughn and others, and so on and so forth. Like I said, people have enjoyed my rosters for years. I would assume the overall system is based, people don't mind it as much. And one thing I will say is I do not base ratings off of fucking NFL Combine. I'm going to say this once and I'm going to say this again. I do not base it off of NFL Combine, okay? I go in, I maybe watch 5 to 10 minutes of a player at most, and I go, okay, how quick is he? How fast is he? Is he an agile player? Is he not an agile player? My ratings aren't going to be perfect. It's a one-man show making, 200 plus fucking players, okay? So I'm not going to sit here and pretend like it's a perfect system. Now, yes, I'm not going to completely base it off of NFL Combine, but I'm not going to go like, oh, this player's not fast because he doesn't look fast on tape. He ran a 4.3. I'm going to give him a little bit of a boost more than anything. Okay, so there is that. Like I said, I can't change dev plates. Any creative player, you cannot change their dev trait. You can't change their contracts. So a lot of the first-round rookies are going to get that guaranteed 5th year, and even some of the second-round rookies are going to get that guaranteed 5th year option. I know second-round rookies don't get a 5th year option in real life, but it's just something that happens with the creative player process because, like I said, EA programs their games like a big bag of asshole. So that is something that does happen, of course. Like I said, I think this is the best way to create rookies. It's the most balanced and fair way. If I know that franchise guy, I don't know if he does rosters anymore. I would assume he does. I haven't watched him in forever. I don't even know if I'm subscribed to him on my YouTube channel. But I know other people do it different ways. Trust me, I get it. They can do it their way. I'm going to do it my way. If you guys don't enjoy the roster, you don't have to download it. You don't have to play with it. All that fun stuff. I don't know if I'm going to be live during the draft. I would like to be. I really would. I would like to create the rookies live on air and, maybe listen to the draft as well and just enjoy my night. Trust me. And then I'm probably going to try to get a reaction out for, of course, the Bears. It's going to be Caleb Williams. should be Caleb Williams. I don't know what they're going to do with pick number 9. They could just trade out of the first round entirely and pick up draft capital later down the board, as well as next year. They could just trade down a couple spots like the New York Giants did, let a team that wants a QB trade up to 9, stuff like that. There's a ton of different options that number 9 pick will be. That's probably going to be the more important reaction content that I'm going to be doing for the night. If anybody super surprising goes, maybe we'll do that. We should have a roster update going out that night, as well as a video and everything else. I'll have all the rookies created. Of course, as well, like I've said before, jersey numbers are just going to be based off of what they wore in college. One thing I do want to state, of course, with player models is I'm going to just show you guys on Pat Mahomes, I guess, real quick, since he's the player I'm listed under. Everybody's appearance is based off of what I think they looked cool wearing in college. So if they wore a jersey number that I thought looked cool, as well as some gear, I'm going to put that gear on. Or it's going to be most what I can commonly find on images, right? If I find 4 different images from like 4 different games and they were wearing, a speed helmet, the Revo Speed, I'm going to throw that on versus, they wore, I don't know, what's the other big one? It's the F7, right? Is it the F7 versus, a player that maybe he wore F7 for 1 year and he wore a Reeve Speed for 2 years. I'm going to give him the Speed helmet, right? If he wore an arm sleeve for 3 years and then for some reason didn't, I'm going to give him that, as well as what they wore their senior year. I think is going to be a big factor as well. That's something I always do. Last but certainly not least, I'm going to say this once because I know I'm going to get a lot of questions about it. Their appearance for every single rookie is not based upon the portrait. It's based upon how the head looks in the game. The reason why I choose to do that over the portrait is because I would rather have the player look accurate when I'm playing the game, if I'm playing a franchise, than if I'm going to be looking at them for 10 seconds on a screen that does not matter, right? Somebody got really mad about this when I made one rookie and they were like, that's not how that rookie looks. Why would you pick that face? That's not how that rookie looks. And then I was like, go into the game, look at their helmet, look at how big their head is compared to their body. Tell me it does not look more accurate than if you go choose that other head that you're telling me to pick. That is why some of the portraits look inaccurate, as well as a lot of these portraits don't look accurate to players at all. If you go into Madden Reddits, Madden Twitters, all that fun stuff, you will see people flaming the fuck out of these portraits that EA has made, because half of them look like they're either fucking 60 or half of them look like they're like late 30s, and then the last little bit of them look like they're maybe 18. So there's a big difference, right? I don't like picking portraits based upon making that player look like what he would look like if he was, in Madden. I would rather pick a portrait, a face scan, a head, based on how he'll look in the game with his helmet on. I'll say that once, I'll say it again, just so everybody's aware. Like I said, I pick, of course, their gear on what they wore in their senior year, as well as what they most commonly wore, as well as stuff that looks cool, right? I'm going to give those players some drip, or at least I'm going to try to give those players some drip, and so on and so forth. And like I said, I'll pick out their jersey numbers based off of course, the NFL requirements. Some positions you do have to wear certain numbers in the NFL. Now, of course, NFL has lifted a lot of that as well. So they're just going to get whatever number I think suits them best, as well as if their college number is available, and so on and so forth. I'm not going to take any jersey numbers away until it's accurately and it's confirmed by the team and the person themselves. Then I will give jersey numbers to different players if they need them, and so on and so forth. I know this is a very long roster update video. Trust me, I get it. A lot of people probably aren't going to watch all this. I just figured I'd try to give you guys the most amount of content surrounding the draft so that you guys understand what exactly I'm doing, so that there's no surprises when the draft does come. I'm going to get this video out before the draft does come, so that you guys know exactly what is going on the night of the draft and what's going to be happening. Like I said, I'm going to try to get the rookies done as quickly as possible, but the first round rookies, I do spend some quality time on them, making sure they look good, play good, and ultimately will make your franchise better. I really hope you guys do appreciate these rosters. I put a lot of time and effort into them. Trust me, if I do stream, you guys are going to see a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff. I normally don't show a ton of this. I plan on doing some stuff once I get the roster done. Now, in terms of day 3, of course, you have the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th round. Let's say I'm able to create all those players, I'm not getting them all done in one day. I'm going to be honest, I don't feel like, it's already going to take 3-ish hours probably for the first round. It's probably going to take close to 5 to 6 for the second and third round. I'm not going to spend, 12 hours on a fucking game, as well as even if EA lets me make all the fucking players, right? So it'll be Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That Saturday, I'll probably end up making at minimum the 4th round if I'm allowed to. I may go into the 5th round as well, and maybe even get the 5th round done. And then that Sunday, I'll probably do the 6th round. And then that Monday, I'll probably do the 7th round if I'm allowed to. If not, I'll let you guys know. And then, of course, not if I can't create them. It's more if I run out of creative player spots. That's the main thing going forward. Is going to be creative player spots. Right? That's going to be the main. That's going to be really, I feel like, the main factor when we talk about whether or not I'm able to create all the rookies. And then if for some reason I am allowed to make the 260 so players, I will be making a couple undrafted guys, some of the more top end guys that were expected to be drafted and maybe fell because of an injury. Well, not that they fell because, not some of the top end guys and they fell out of the draft. It's more like these are some of the guys that, we even expected to go in the 5th round that just didn't go, whether it's because of off-field concerns, injuries, age, whatever, right? Teams didn't really think too highly of them. I'll try to make those rookies once they sign, if, of course, like I said, I do have the roster spots for them. Now, one thing that I did forget to mention earlier, EA only allows me to make 75 players. Most teams carry 100 into the offseason, and then once preseason starts, they cut down to that 90, and then each week of the preseason, they have to cut down a certain amount of players. So, with that being said, I'm only allowed to have 75 on a roster. So, if it comes to the front where, teams at 75 players, and they have, 2 more draft picks I need to make, I'm probably going to cut maybe lowest overall, or players I don't think are going to make the roster in general, future reserve contracts, stuff like that. Low overall guys, it's going to be mainly from the wide receiver, the running back position, the quarterback position. If they have, 4 or 5 QBs on the roster, I'm going to cut the lowest overall, right? There's just going to be different things that I'll do. That is something I do want to address as well, because I know that's probably going to be an issue for a couple teams, just because of how many future reserve contracts they signed, how many free agents they signed, all that fun stuff, and just everything in between. Like I said, I really do hope you guys appreciate these rosters. I'm going to be putting a lot of work over the weekend for you guys. Like I said, I hope you guys enjoy them, and I'll see you guys when I see you guys next. It'll probably be Thursday night. I'm hoping to have a mock draft video for my Chicago Bears. I really do. I'm not going to worry about it too much if I don't get to it. I'll probably just be like, hey, these are the guys I want on Twitter. Also, go follow my Twitter. I'm going to try to start posting there even more actively. If I am live, I don't know if I'll be live on YouTube or if I'll be live on Twitch. I haven't really decided whether or not I'm even going to be live and whether it's worth it for me, or if I'm just going to just enjoy my night, listen to some music, and call it a night, But with that being said, guys, if you guys enjoyed this content or the content here on my channel, I would appreciate it if you guys do stick around and subscribe. I'll be back with more videos like this in the near future. I'll be back with, of course, roster updates over the next week are going to be insane. There's probably going to be at least 6 or 7. There's going to be a ton of content coming out. Titans franchise, of course, will be put on the back burner for a little bit. I don't even know if I'm going to have any more coming out this week. I think Tuesday will probably be the last week that the Titans franchise will be given a video. I do have some that I've already recorded, so I'll have those ready to go as soon as draft content is done. Because I'll probably have this coming out on a Wednesday. I'll probably have a mock draft coming out on Thursday, hopefully. And then, of course, roster updates every single day regarding each round that I do, and so on and so forth. Like I said, I hope you guys do enjoy the roster. I hope you guys do stick around and continue to watch my content. I really do appreciate the support you guys have been showing me. But with that being said, guys, I'm out. Peace.